There it goes. Okay. All right. So just so you guys to understand kind of the purpose of this is that this is a clinical simulation that I have to do for my family therapy class. The idea is to just sort of take one of the theories that we've been talking about in class and sort of apply it to in a sort of clinical situation. And the idea will be just sort of to understand the dynamics of your relationship, or at least an aspect of it, and really not necessarily to resolve it, but just sort of to discuss it within in a kind of a clinical simulation. So does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, I wanted to start first of all just by asking the two of you, like, what first attracted you to one another?
We'd seen each other across the room before. We were attracted to each other from a distance. We thought I thought he was handsome and a good dancer and all of that. I don't know what about you, honey?
About the same thing, it's about the same thing,
I didn't know him. We didn't talk to each other.
It wasn't until she was going through her problem that she ended up in my area, because my area was in the Orange County, and I danced there for 30 some odd years. But I would come over here because over here they danced on holidays. They didn't give a dark day. They didn't have no dark days.
Okay.
So I came down here and danced on January the 1st, which over there is all dark, but they were dancing here and she was there. So I asked her to dance one, and we've been together since.
Okay. And the dancing is
square dancing.
Square dancing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Square dancing.
So,
I mean, I've square danced for 56 years, and I've danced all over. And she came into my area, which was Orange County, and she was from San Bernardino.
And I talked to him that night.
Yeah,
Just for a minute.
Actually,
for the
what
are you doing there? This is where
That's
I
what I
live.
did. That's what I told her. I said, "What are you doing here? What are you doing here? This is my area." And so she said she was down here visiting. So
okay.
Yeah, and he had a partner, and I was dancing with a guy. I didn't really know him, but it was for the night. I was dancing with a guy, and but then when we saw each other in January, that was like November, and then when we saw each other in January, we'd already kind of broken the ice.
Okay. And so like once you got to know each other, what did you guys really find as being the things that were that you thought would make a good relationship with one another?
We had a lot of similar interests.
Okay, like what? Besides, I know square dancing.
Camping.
Okay.
we both went camping. We both took our trailers, and we both did the same thing. So
And we knew a lot of the same people.
Okay.
A lot of them.
we ran in the same circle. It's just at different times. So.
Okay. And is there?
She's been dancing with Redlands. Redlands used to be in San Bernardino way back in the 70s.
Okay.
They danced right there. Actually, they were Highland. They worked out Highland. Then they moved to San Bernardino, and then they moved to Redlands.
Okay.
Everybody out here knew him better than I did.
Okay. And is there anything about his personality that you really?
Funny.
Okay.
He's funny, and he likes adventure.
Okay.
He does, and so life's not boring. He's interesting and flamboyant, and just a fun person.
Okay. What do you mean flamboyant?
Have you seen his square his clothes?
I dress different than those people.
Oh, okay.
Did you ever see my shirts or anything? Those big blousy shirts that
Okay, yeah.
hang down like this.
And his Billy Jack hat.
Okay.
Yeah, and nobody dresses like me. So to me, that's, as she's saying, that's flamboyant, which it is, because nobody wore a shirt like mine.
Okay.
And I used to have a maid until she told me she was a seamstress, but she started making them
No,
now.
and so we sew together too. That's another thing we do together. He'd cut them out, we'd,
I cut, she sews.
and then he'd do some of the gathering, and I'd put the cuffs on, and, he'd put the snaps and so we would do it together.
Okay. What about strengths? What do you see as each other's strengths?
She's the financial person here.
Okay.
But he's a
Yeah.
steady Eddie.
How do
You
mean?
know,
With the steady Eddie.
he spent his whole life working away, and I don't think he really had like a goal. I mean, a serious goal where he's not like me. You know how I am, like just serious. And,
Well, I know exactly what you're saying. Like today, you see a lot of these people that the jobs that I had were always either swing shift or graveyard shift.
Mhm.
And I love graveyard shift because I can dance on the swing shift.
Okay.
And I couldn't dance when I was on swing shift.
Okay.
And I see a lot of these people that they're 30 and 40 years old that are doing things that I wanted to do, but I couldn't do it because, I didn't have actually a place where I could do it, because I used to love to work on cars and all,
Mm.
but I never had a garage. So that went by the side. I wanted to weld, but I couldn't weld, I didn't have any place to do it. So,
but he ended up with 2 retirements, one from the military and one from the Teamsters. Even though he wasn't the kind of person that was mapping out his life,
Mhm.
he
that
did.
was just because I was at the right place and the right time.
Yeah.
I love the reserves, and I stayed in there for 33 years. I danced for 56. When I find something that I like, I hang with it.
Okay.
I had a truck for 40 years.
Mhm.
I had another car. I had it for 25 years.
Mhm.
I just don't. Well, it's time to go. I fix them. I get them fixed, and I'm not one that throws things away because they're out of use. I fix them so that I can continue to use them.
Okay.
Like that trailer that I had when she met me, I had already had it 33 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I had it 33 years, but hers was newer because mine was 33 years, hers were 4.
Uh-huh.
And guess which one we sold?
I'm guessing the 33.
That actually we sold that in my camper, which was a brand new camper.
Okay.
And that's how we bought the big trailer. She finally sold hers. But I keep things for a long time.
And you find that to be a strength, that steadiness?
Yeah.
Okay.
If he tells me something, I can count on it.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Yeah. If he tells me something, I can count on it.
Okay.
Which is nice.
Yeah. That is nice. How long have you two been together?
13 years.
Almost 14.
Oh wow.
January will be 14.
Mhm.
January 1st, 2005.
Oh goodness. So you two have been together quite a long time.
Almost, 13 and a half. Over.
Kind of hard to believe. I mean, it doesn't seem like that.
2 more months, I will be back there 14 years.
Mhm.
So, well, that's quite an accomplishment. So,
Oh,
for both of you.
It is. We deserve medals of honor.
Well, I wanted to just kind of talk about that before we get into just discussing what brought you in today. So why don't we get into that now and just talk about a little bit of the issues that you guys are facing right now.
Okay. You want to know about what the issues are we're facing right now? Well, it's going to be a big transition period, and it has been a tough 5 years with, my dad we were used to doing a lot of stuff together.
You and Gilbert?
Get me and Gilbert. And I was working at the county of San Bernardino, and I had what they called a 980, so I had lots of 3-day weekends. And we, as a couple, utilized those a lot.
Okay.
Doing
It wasn't
things.
until her dad got sick, really sick, that's when it all kind of went
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Because she had to be here on weekends. If I was to have to go to council meeting, I used to have to go to council meeting up and down California
By himself, and I used to
by
always
myself,
go.
and she always went. And I had to go to the cross state, like the national, by myself, to another state by myself, and she couldn't go because if she went, then all of a sudden we'd be there and with a camper and trailer, and she'd get this phone call, and then here we are packing.
Okay, yeah.
So she needed to stay here.
Yeah,
Oh,
he was had a few close calls, and I had an overbearing sister
Mhm.
that couldn't stand it if I did anything other than see him on the weekends.
Okay.
And I continued to work.
Okay.
So I was working, I changed jobs, which now was a 5-day-a-week job,
Mhm.
and was spending at least one day a week over there with him, and then the other day was taking care of daily activities.
Mhm.
So we kind of lost that, that companionship that Gilbert especially. Me, I was busy,
Mhm.
but I know Gilbert missed it, or at least he tells me he did.
And how did that make you feel?
Well, what can I say? What can I do? She said, "You go ahead and go, but just to go camping with a bunch of couples, then you're gonna be alone."
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I went all the way up to Otay, and there's three other trailers and three other couples there, and I was alone. And I said, "Well, this will be the last time I do this." It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
Mhm. So did you ever? So it sounds like, from what I understand, was that you were dealing a lot with Grandpa and trying to help him, as he was dealing with his sickness and struggling with having to deal with your sister.
And all the finances of him,
Mhm.
and figuring out I was the one that, like he says, the financial person. I was the financial person and the contract person and everything for that whole stint of him being ill, putting him in assisted living, putting him in memory care,
Right.
all of those things.
Mhm.
And Gilbert helped me as much as he could, but he couldn't do the fighting with my sister and the,
Right. Mhm. So it sounds like it kind of put a strain on your guys' relationship.
It did. I mean, I think he handled it. He was a saint, really, pretty much with that. He never complained, but I know he was lonely.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I know he was lonely, and then so we got through that pretty much, but now we're still in transition. We were waiting for me to finally be free, so I'm finally gonna retire, and we have to get our finances in order and change our
She still
lifestyle.
got to get her father's finances in order. Once she does that last tax, then he'll really be out of the way.
Yeah.
Because she's still working on that stuff.
Yeah.
She still talks about, I got this bill from blah, blah, blah,
Mhm.
I thought I paid it, blah, blah, blah. And they're still coming in, and
Right.
until she does that last tax,
Mhm.
she's still gonna be working on it.
Yeah.
Mhm. So, and does that how does that affect the relationship between the two of you? I mean, I understand. It sounds like it's kind of made you feel lonely because you haven't been able to spend time
Even
together.
when I'm here, I'm busy doing stuff
Mhm.
for that, not so much now, but now our focus is trying to get our finances in order so we can move. We bought a house in Virginia to be near Julie so that I can help with some of the kids and lower our overhead.
Okay.
So, and there's been a lot involved in that,
Mhm.
selling trailers, selling cars,
Right.
getting the house in order, you know, finishing my dad's estate. So Gilbert's, we're trying, I'm trying harder to make time. We've gone to a couple dances and, you know, we're trying to, we've signed up for a camp out
New
dance
Year's Day,
for New Year's and for or
and the, almost Thanksgiving.
Veterans Day.
Okay.
That Veterans Day?
And has that helped?
I think it
Oh, yeah.
is. We're
Okay.
we're in a we're trying to. So now we just need to get through this move and
And then, you know, there's another problem we have, and that's her, you know,
Mm.
because she needs her shots
Okay.
twice a day.
Mm.
You know, so we really can't leave them with anybody.
no, we have
The
to.
dogs, yeah.
We
Mhm.
kind of have to do stuff like camping. We can do that because we can take them.
You could take them
Yeah.
with us, but you can't take them to the hotel.
Mhm. So
You
it
know,
sounds, yeah, go ahead.
It's we took her in somewhere around February, March. You know, the doctor said you're gonna live for 2 weeks. I mean, 2 months. She's still here.
Mm.
You know, and we know that every time I look at her, she's, you know, she might not be here tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah, you know.
So you guys are dealing with some issues as far as life transitions. How do you two discuss those issues? Like, how do you bring up the conversation? Who starts the conversation?
Well, during all of that time where we didn't have a lot of closeness, things were fiery. You
Okay.
know, like when we were back at Julie and Zach's for Christmas, I went and looked at a house and Gilbert wouldn't even talk to me about it, and you know, because he didn't want to do it, and I get it. But we didn't even have, I think we're in a better place. I think that's why we got to where he said he would do it for me.
Okay.
Because, but I think we didn't have much closeness then. I
Okay.
think it was, you know, there just wasn't much closeness.
Mhm.
So I think being closer is helping us kind of transition through some of this. We've got decisions to make and, you know, about different things, money especially, and we've been working on that together, to get our money in a good place.
And how do those conversations go? Like, who initiates the conversation about money?
Well, she wants to know who I spend it on.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. No.
I usually do because you know, except he handles his own money, but I'm the strategist.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
She was at first she was my fiance, and then I made her my financier.
So.
But anyway, that's they usually come up when she comes over and says, yeah, well, I gotta pay this, and this off, and then I come in here and I'll tell you, I just paid all this off, you know, blah, 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 and then it just goes on from there.
Okay. And and how do you, like, when she tells you that there's a financial issue, how do you usually respond?
There really is no financial issue because, you know, she takes care of hers, and I don't tell her what to spend it on, and I take care of mine, and she doesn't tell me how to spend it.
Okay.
You know, all I know is I don't spend because the more I spend, the more I have to pay, and I don't want to be paying with my money, you know.
Okay.
But we have assets, and we've been selling some assets, and that's when we talk about it.
Okay.
It's like, okay, we have this amount of money, you know, how are we gonna?
I've showed her everything that I have in there. She can go into one piece of paper and she'll know exactly how much I have. How much I spend.
Okay.
Yeah.
How much I spend that every month. So it's how much I owe them because I mark it down every month, and how much I put out, and I pay something off. Like we sold the teardrop. I took the $6,500 and dropped my $6,500. So that means that one payment had $300 a month. Now I have 3 payments that are $100 more.
And he tells me
Mhm.
what he's
And
doing.
all that, and it's right there, you know, right in black and white. And I told her how to get to it. If she can't, I'll just open it up because it's all in the computer.
Mhm. So I want to go back really quick because we were talking a little bit about you wanted to buy a house in Virginia, and when you first brought up the issue, um, Gilbert was kind of resistant to it and not saying much about it, or didn't want to look into it. What were your thoughts in that moment?
I told her that she can go wherever she wants to go, that I would follow. That's all.
Okay.
You know, but she knew then that I didn't really want to leave here.
Okay.
These are my roots. This is where I was raised,
Mhm.
and I was born.
Mhm.
I was born in East LA and raised on the east side of Los Angeles.
Okay.
You know,
Mhm.
Downey, or Bellflower, San Bernardino is all east.
Mhm.
All east of San Bernardino. The last 10 years was here. But other than that, and I know, like I said before, it's going to be for her. I have 5 years left. In those 5 years, it may take me 5 years to travel 2 or 3 times in the truck from here to there because it's going to be snowbirds. And I know we're not going to make more than 1 or 2 trips.
Okay. Mhm.
You know.
Yeah.
And after that, as long as I'm with my computer and my ancestry,
Mhm.
I got no problem.
Okay.
You know. And I know that's what I'm going to do when I'm over there.
Mhm.
I think him being more feeble is more another in his he had a lot of extracurricular activities that have kind of gone away, you know. I think it's making it easier for him to say that. Plus, I think the fact that we're going to be snowbirds
Mhm.
makes it, we have a place we can go to. It's
Mhm.
not fancy, but we have a place we can come out here and stay for extended periods. So he can still see his friends,
Mhm.
you know, a few times a year, and
Mhm.
you know, and I think that's might be why he's more agreeable to it now. I don't know. It was just he kind of just said it was okay after my dad passed out.
Okay. But before that, it was still kind of an issue of
Because we weren't really sure. There was no point in planning because I still had so many obligations.
okay. So it was more just putting it off at that moment. And how did that make you feel when he just wanted to sort of put it off at that
It
moment?
was sad.
Okay.
Sad.
Mhm. And why is that?
Because Julie and I talk like we're friends
Okay.
more than probably just mom, mother, and daughter, and we talk 2 or 3 times a day.
Mhm.
And she's lived on the East Coast for 10, 12 years.
She's been living there longer than that.
Yeah,
She
I
was
don't
there
Mhm.
probably a year before we met, I think.
Yeah.
And she's been there about 14 or 15 years.
Mhm.
And so we've got that connection, but I don't really get to be with her.
Okay.
Holidays, you know, those kind of things. So I'd like to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you communicate that to Gilbert when
Yeah.
you were feeling?
Yeah.
And how did you respond?
It's all around.
All around.
Yeah, it's in the aura.
Uh-huh.
I mean, she's on the phone with her maybe 5 hours without her.
Yeah. Mhm.
She's on the phone about 22 hours a day.
Yeah. But when she told you that it was, that she was feeling sad that she couldn't be back there in Virginia, how did that what were your thoughts on that?
I didn't even think about it. I just knew that I was going to end up there. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just. I mean, even from the beginning, I told her before she even started saying that she wanted to move over there. I said, "I'll go wherever you take me," because we were supposed to go to Arizona, and then we were supposed to go to Texas, and then we were supposed to go here. And then now I ended up in Virginia, but it was 3 or 4 different places, and I told her I'll go wherever you want me to go. Because that originally I got going to Tucson.
Yeah, we really thought about it, but neither of our kids are there.
Right.
California, you know, if we come out here to be snowbirds, kids are out here, you're out here, Gilbert's kids are out here. If we see them, he's got, you know, lots of grandkids and, so.
Okay, well, it sounds like you resolved that situation pretty successfully. I heard there are other situations that have been related to this whole transition where you guys have struggled a little bit more in terms of trying to figure out how to resolve the situation.
Maybe furniture, you know, like what are we gonna take, you know? We each have to have had to kind of agree, well, we're not gonna take this, we are gonna take that, you know?
And what have you done when you guys have had, you know, had a difference of opinion as far as, you know, like, do we take, you know, like, you know, say you wanted to bring one piece of furniture and she didn't, like, how did you choose?
She bought those damn things right there.
The chairs?
Yeah, we got new chairs, so we'll have new chairs.
And now I even got one in storage and I want to put in my den then.
And I had to fix him up a den.
Okay, so you guys made a compromise that if you got the chairs that he would get a den?
He would get a den and he could have his TV.
Listen, I can't. These are rockers, and I don't like rockers. You know, I like to sit up like this. But as soon as you lay down, I don't know if you sat on them. As soon as you lay down, you go back.
Okay.
You know, it's not like here. Whereas the other one was like this, and then you can just push it back and go back and put it where you want. But not these. As soon as you sit down, you're rocking. And then for me, 80 years old, trying to get up. You're pushing on the things there, and then you're going this way. You know, like an inch. You know, I mean, you could probably do it because your legs are taller, but mine don't even reach the ground when I'm sitting there.
Okay.
You know, so.
And he got tile in his office so that he doesn't have to have one of those rubber mats to put his chair on.
Okay.
And he gets to get a new TV to put in there so that he has his man cave.
Okay.
And we're gonna get a street legal golf cart.
Okay, very nice.
So, cause he's having trouble with his hips and,
That truck is just too high for me.
yeah, so we're gonna get this, they let you drive them around there. And
It's cart friendly.
yeah.
Okay.
So that should be good for him to go get the mail, go over to Julie's, cause Julie's only like a mile away, and
You can drive it.
drive around to the pool and, you know, all the stuff. We can just go on an evening stroll or whatever with our golf cart. So.
Okay. You know, I the only thing I want to take with me is some tools. You know, like I said, I want to give you all the gardening tools that I have. And I'm going to go down there probably this weekend and load them and take them down there, and you can get whatever you want. The rest I'll just get rid of.
Okay.
You know, I've got shovels. I've got. I think I have one of those things that you open the holes in. You know.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff that I just don't use anymore because they've been cutting the lawn, and I don't work out there anymore.
Right.
And that's just part of my thought. And like I said, I have those 3 mannequins I've been trying to get rid of. I got 3 mannequins that are bust size, you know. So. And the only thing that's good for is for somebody who's got a store that will have stress, or somebody who's got sales of used clothing. You know, they're the only ones that will be able to use them. But.
So anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know. We're not struggling real bad now. We kind of getting over it. We're getting rid of the bikes. We're getting rid of different things that. But
okay. Well, it sounds like just from listening to the two of you and the way you know discuss some of the issues that you've had is that you know you use very good techniques for dealing with the issues. You're compromising with one another. You're listening to one another's feelings as far as, issues that that you're having in the relationship. And so I think those are really good communication skills, and I think those are things just to continue doing, particularly, as other issues come up, during this transition that you're having to move to Virginia. So, was there anything else that you wanted to talk about today?
No, do you have any pointers?
Well, I think, in a lot of ways, I think right now it just sounds like you're doing very well in the relationship, and I think if there are other issues that you want to address, then we can talk about those. I know you talked about your sister and having some conflict there. Has that caused any problems with the relationship that the two of you have?
Yeah, Gilbert says, I don't know why you always forgive her.
Uh-huh.
Well, she comes in here and and she says, I'm not gonna talk to her no more. The next thing you know, they're buddies again. I'm not that way. You step on my toes 3 times, and that's it. I don't have no use
We're
for
not
you.
buddies again. It's just I'm trying to get along so I can get it done.
Right.
You know.
And does that cause arguments between the two of you?
No,
Just,
that-
he just,
That's her problem, not mine.
Okay.
I would just tell her like what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
and he would do that.
Mm-hmm.
He does do that.
Uh-huh.
So, well,
I got no time for those kind of people
Mm-hmm.
to be stepping on you 2 or 3 times and think that everything is going to be just fine.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I was raised in the street,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the way I am today, 80 years later.
Okay. So, all right. Well, thank
okay,
you very much
yeah,
for
thank you.
doing this with me. I appreciate you taking the time. So.